Welcome to a comparison. On my right, I have OpaRay. It's a 2022 Model Y long range. On my left, I have GRANPA. Okay, doesn't have the plates on it yet, but that's what it will be. It's a 2022 Model 3 Performance. And so the purpose is to kind of compare what they are. Now keep in mind a Model 3, whether you get long range, rear wheel drive, or performance, for most of those comparisons, it's all the same thing, right? It should be. So anyway, there you go. Here's the two cars. I am standing on just a little hill, a little mound of dirt, so to speak. Filming this right now, but there it goes. So let's start off with here. I didn't see it with Ming's car, but with this car, it's obviously there's a difference in the height. And if you look at the front bumper, there's a significant difference in the height there as well. So there you go. So the Model 3 is shorter, more slippery. And that's what makes sense for performance. Anyway, so I just got this Model 3 actually. It's used, obviously, so it's 3 years old. The knock on it is it doesn't have the heat pump in it, so it'll have resistive heating. It's going to be kind of how do I want to put it? It's not going to be use efficient. And I'm finding that both cars are cutting in the air conditioning quite a bit, even in the garage. So they're using energy in the garage. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, what do you say? Where do you want to start? I'm just looking at the front. So let's switch around to the back. Okay, so same kind of thing with the back. It is just a little bit shorter. The Model 3, that is. Just a little bit shorter. Actually, a fair amount shorter. It's like, what, 5-6 inches shorter. Wow, okay. And I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't show up really well. But on the Model 3, the trunk lid comes only a little ways up the rear glass, before it stops. So on the Model Y, it goes up much further. And so with the Model Y, that whole thing will lift up until that line in the glass. Whereas in the Model 3, it's just a trunk. Okay, so as you see, the Model Y is a dual motor, so it's a long range. No red stripe on it. Over here, Model 3 is a performance as designated by the little red stripe thing below the dual motor. Okay, and I don't know if you can see it well, but there's a little spoiler. I don't know why you put it, well, it's a performance car, right? In theory, you can take the Model 3 Performance out on track and race it. Okay. And I don't know, you can't really see it here. That's the tire on the Model 3. Now it's just a 235, but it's what they call summer tires. So it's like a semi-slick, which is very interesting. I didn't know that, but there you go. I said this is Nubertine. I'm not sure it's Nubertine. This looks like a sport wheel, except so it is a performance. Huh? Okay. Because Nubertine is more like blades. This has a little bit like blades, but not quite. And what's interesting here is this is also a gray. And oh, by the way, if you look close, yes, the brake calipers are red, or the cover's red. So there you go. Cool, awesome. And looking over here, this is the wheel on the Model Y. It actually is supposed to have an aero cover on it, but you know what? I don't really like that aero cover, so I took it off. It makes about 10 miles difference in range if you're going full range, which I usually don't, but I did do a 70 mile per hour test and it came out 10 miles shorter. So, where is it? It's way down there. So the tire on this guy is a 255/45 R19. Okay, so it's actually 20 millimeters wider. So it's a wider tire. I find interesting. And actually, I think the Model Y is about 800 pounds heavier. I've forgotten exactly. I've done some research. I have something written up to add into it. Okay, so this guy is a summer tire, yes. It has a 235/35 R20 tire on it. Now, what I find interesting, it has this little lip here. It's supposed to help save the edges of the wheel. This has a little lip as well. But I can tell you, one of my wheels has a little road rash on it from hitting the curb. So anyway, whatever. That's what it is. What it is. So anyway, back sides. Oh yes. By the way, because it's older than 2022. Because I think it was 2022. Right around there, they made the change from chrome trim to blacked out trim. Living in Central Texas, I'm not that excited about the black trim, but you know, it's only briefly you touch that handle, and if you touch it right, you don't have a problem. Anyway, there you go. So side view. Oh yes, this side view, I see it much more pronounced. The difference in height between the Model Y and the Model 3. But there that is. Man, those wheels and those tires, man. It's almost like having a Porsche. What's that? It's the electric version of it. To some extent, yes. Okay, so here's the front for my Model 3. Huh, interesting. So it's a little bit shallower, which you'd expect with the front bumper being lower. I'm guessing they didn't finish treating all this, but okay, whatever. We'll get it. Anyway, so I have my portable connector over here. I have an extension cord. I have a spare umbrella, for what it's worth. A towel, manual foot pump, and a pair of gloves. Let's see, what I'm missing is the electric pump, and I'll have to work on getting that. Of course, over there is where you put in the windshield washer fluid. And for those of you who haven't seen the difference yet, this is the inside of the hood for the Model 3. When I saw pictures of somebody showing inside their hood, I saw this design and didn't quite know what it was. Now I know what it is. Anyway, this is not the way Model Y is. Okay, so this is what a Model Y looks like. Oh, this has a little thing that goes into the, well, it seals it. Oh yeah, of course. So it seals the front. Okay, portable connector, extension cord. I actually have a shower curtain in there. I have a pillow because a friend of mine was saying, "Oh, I can't really fit." Oh, but whatever. Oh, it's down there further. Okay, so this is the Tesla air pump. This is for the hitch components and a lug wrench, obviously. These are the pucks. So if I want to jack it up, I got the pucks to put under the jack. This is just a sport bag. I got a towel, some. Oh, okay. So I need to saw some branches, and this is the cover for the trailer hitch connector, which I just left in here for now. Oh, that's different. That's okay. So over here is the windshield washer fluid filler. I'm just noticing that this has different layout for the tubing. That's interesting. Oh, wait, what? You know what? I think this is a slightly less space here. That's interesting. Anyway, so it looks like about the front is about 10 inches deep, at least on the front of it. The front on the Model Y is about 12.5 inches deep on the front. That's interesting. Well, whatever, we'll see how it goes. But I know that the frunk has about another square foot in the Model Y as opposed to the Model 3. Okay, the Model 3 HEPA filter cover and all that stuff is just short of 9 inches. Okay, the Model Y HEPA filter cover and all that stuff is actually just over 12 inches. But you know what, I just noticed it. I think on the Model Y, it's just ever so slightly more slanted. So it comes up a little bit further onto the windshield cover, but only a little bit. Huh, interesting. Okay, so this is the trunk for the Model 3. For some reason I feel like the spacing between the wheels, the wheel hubs, is just a little bit wider, but I'm not sure. And you can see that this is the back lid. I mean, what do you call that? Deck. So it's you know, if you can get stuff to lay flat, you can put it in here, and it's a 60/40 fold down back seat. So there's that part. This comes out to 42 inches deep from the back seat. You'll see over here that this is blocked off or covered, so you can't put anything on this side. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. Over here you have some space to put in some things. Right now I have a hat and I think some gloves maybe. But there, what's interesting is that this Model 3, there's actually this little thing here. I think that's different from other Model 3s. So I don't know if that's a performance thing or if it's 2020 problem, whatever it is what it is. And coming in here, you can see the charge port release, but there is no 12 volt port here. Okay, that takes care of that. And of course, this does have the little trunk thing here, or the sub trunk. And you might notice, if you know the difference well, you'll notice that this does not have a little ridge around the left and right sides like my Model Y does. But whatever, it is what it is. So for those you don't know, this is usually where I keep my groceries, just so that they're not rolling around loose. And this is the Model Y. This is what you call an SUV. Look at the space you have to get into the back. So you can actually carry stuff. You can lay it sideways, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to claim I can carry a sheet of plywood. Obviously, that wouldn't fit. Although if I had a couple of sheets and I laid it sideways, maybe you could. Not really, because this is only about 6 feet deep with the seats folded down. But anyway, it's just one of those things. Well, it can carry. Well, you know what? In your F-150, you can't carry a sheet of plywood in the bed either, unless you fold down the gate. But whatever, there it is. Obviously, I still have dirt left over from the last utility mission I was on. Okay, the depth from the back of the seats to here, 43 inches, so it's a silly inch longer. Okay, that's nice. And you can see that there's speakers in the back. Nice carpeting if you're laying in the back. Yes, okay. And I have this opening on this side, which right now has a water bottle and an empty trash bag. And then on this side, much bigger, this is a much bigger place to hold stuff. So there's that. Okay. And this is the frunk. I mean, not frunk, it's the trunk. So what's cool is this has these little holes cut out so you can hold the lid up. So you can stack stuff in here. It looks like, yes. Anyway, what I was saying was there's these two little things on either side that kind of interfere with using the whole frunk. You know, I should measure it, huh? Okay, I'll get to that. All right. And on top of that, we also have this. So this is an extra little storage space that you get, assuming you didn't get a third seat. So the third seat basically fit to here, which I guess you can see. So it's that'd be 20.5 inches. Now with the third seat back here, you can push these seats up just a little bit to give you a little bit extra room. I mean, it's hard to get into. It is tight. I've tried it. Ming's tried it once, and there was actually at the Tesla store, there was another lady who was asking about it, and Ming got in. As soon as she saw Ming getting in, she said, "No way." So whatever. I mean, when you absolutely need to have a third seat, there it is. There's not much room. A lot of people say it's really just for kids, but the other part, of course, is you don't have the anchor points to put in a kid's seat, so it's limited in that way. Okay. The other thing I should mention is the middle folds down, so it's more like a 40-20-40 folding rear seat, as opposed to 60-40 in the Model 3 stand. So this is a simple little chart I wrote up to document some of the differences. So my Model Y long range, OpaRay, my Model 3 performance, GRANPA, and Ming's Model 3 rear-wheel drive, Ming. Okay, year 2022, 2020, 2023. EPA estimated range, Model Y 330, Model 3 performance 299, and Ming's Model 3 rear-wheel drive is 267. Okay, I've done a 70 mile per hour range test that's without the aero caps on, and that came out to be 252. If I remember right, I got 10 more miles with the aero caps on. I've also done a 30 mile per hour range test, but I haven't gone back and looked for it. I think it was around 350, something like that, at 30 miles per hour. Anyway, 0-60 times, OpaRay 4.8. This is on paper. GRANPA, Model 3 Performance 3.2. And Ming's rear-wheel drive 5.8. Okay, the ADAS system. Yes. So Model Y has a autopilot hardware 3. The Model 3 Performance does have FSD. In fact, it's downloading FSD right now, so it should be enabled once it reboots. And Ming's Model 3 has autopilot hardware 3. The tires and wheels to some extent, whatever. So the Model Y, 255s by 45 on 19-inch wheels without the aero caps on. The tires are Continental Pro contacts. The Model 3 Performance, 235 by 35 on 20-inch performance wheels, and they're Pirelli P0s. And Ming's has the 235 by 40 19 sport wheels, and I want to say it's Michelin, but I don't remember for sure. Okay, the weight. The Model Y is the heaviest, obviously, at 4,555. The Model 3 Performance, 4,048, and Ming's rear-wheel drive comes in at 3,862. So yeah, she's saving almost 200 pounds without that front motor in. Okay, seats. My Model Y has 5 seats. Now, if you order a Model Y, there is an option to add 2 additional rear seats. That would be tight, but if you really need that for once a year or something like that, you do have that option. The Model 3 Performance, 5 seats. Model 3 rear-wheel drive, 5 seats. Okay, the trunk is rated at 30 square feet for the Model Y, and both Model 3s, it's just under 20 square feet. The front, 4.1 for the Model Y, and 3.1 square feet for the Model 3s. And you can see that the front is actually much shallower. Anyway, this is what I have written up for comparisons. I mean, obviously there's other comparisons, but this is what I've written down. Okay, so this is why you bring a measuring tape, huh? So the measuring tape says this this sub-trunk is 23.5 inches, more or less, on the Model 3. That's wide. In the Model Y, the deepest part of the trunk, more or less, is just 23 inches. So it is 23 inches. Okay. So the narrower part is indeed narrower. So am I being fair? No, 23.5. It's 23.5 inches down here in the very bottom. All right, so more towards the top. This is much wider, actually. Comes out to 31 inches, more or less. And there is just ever so slightly a little lip here that you can take advantage of to layer some stuff in if you have to. Wow, so plenty of space. Okay, Model 3 front to back measurement is right at 18. Okay, Model Y sub-trunk front to back, 18.5 inches. Close, okay. Model 3 depth, about 12.5 inches deep. Model Y depth, 14 inches. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it may not be completely obvious, but the driver's seat adjusted for array, it looks like seat height is right around 17, maybe 16.5 inches in the back. So there you go, that's the height there. Okay, Model Y, front seat adjusted for array. What did I say was? 24 inches. Okay, there you go. So that goes back to what I've been saying is, if you find that getting into a shorter car is difficult because of your mobility, whatever it is, go Model Y. There it is. I mean, yes, is it difficult for me getting that Model 3? A little bit, but I know it's part of the cost for getting in that car. So there it is. Model 3 roof line, about 55.5 inches. Model Y roof line, let's call that 63, shall we? 63 inches. Okay, rear. Driver's side door, about 20 inches down towards the bottom. I'll let you know. This is about 20 inches as well. This Model Y is about 20 inches towards the bottom of the door. Okay, so the big disadvantage of the Model 3 is if Ray's driving, this is all the space you get. And believe me, it's tight. Anyway, not much room under the seat for some reason. If the seat was up further, I'm sure there'd be more room. But then again, you're sitting behind Ray. So my knees are pressed up against the seat in front of me, and my back is mostly pushed right up against the back of the seat. So that is difficult. And for some reason, I have almost no room for my feet. I feel my feet bumping into something. It's just the carpet, okay. Whatever. Turn. There we go. Oh. Hit my head there. Okay, there you go. And out of the car. So with the back seat of this car, if it's set for Ray, would it be a good robo-taxi? Probably not. However, I think if you push the seat up, but still, this roof line is so much lower. So here's Ray, sitting behind Ray in the Model Y. The good news is there's a lot more room for my feet. My knees are still right up against the seat, but they're not pushing, they're just right there. So there's more room. And the roof line is right here, but it's much higher, so I can get out much easier. In fact, let's do that. So, if you're gonna run robo-taxi, Model Y is a much better choice. I'm still wondering, the rumor factory would have you believe that the compact car will be the robo-taxi, and yet if I compare the Model 3 to the Model Y, that's not going to work. So I just don't know. But we'll see, huh? That's in the future. All we're talking about at this point is rumors. So now we've done a comparison. OpaRay to GRANPA. For carrying around a group of people, Model 3 may not be the best choice. It is cheaper. It's $8,000-$10,000 cheaper in comparable trims. And the Model 3 you can get in rear-wheel drive only. I don't know. I mean, the feeling with some people is, for Americans, the rear-wheel drive is too small, not enough range. But, just because I say, like, this car can do 330 in theory by EPA standards, but I've only once gone over 330, and that was doing 30 miles per hour. So that's not, unless the EPA range is probably around 50 miles an hour, maybe 45. So, it's not highway speeds. And the highway speeds, even 70 miles an hour, is going to have a hard time getting anywhere close to that. On the other hand, it has more than enough range to make it to almost any supercharger stop you might want to get to. I mean, if you, like say you go to El Paso, you can go from supercharger to supercharger and get there, no problem. I've actually done it. So that's not a big deal. There have been people saying, well, San Angelo might be a tough nut to crack. Yes. I mean, there's not a supercharger right around there. But whatever, that's another, that was somebody looking to figure out what car to get. Anyway, so where I was going was Model 3, let's put it on Ming, shall we? So Ming had a Camry, which she's handing down to her daughter now. So she didn't want the Model Y because the Model Y, it is bigger. It's no doubt that it's bigger. Now, on the outside, is it that much bigger? Not really, but it just feels bigger if you're used to a Model 3 size car or Camry size car. So Camry Model 3 are very similar sizes. And the roofline is pretty much right there. So the real question is, what is it you want? What I really want? Okay, do I really want the utility? But I have to have utility, right? Sometimes I'd pull a trailer, sometimes I'd do other stuff. Sometimes I have to carry a fair amount of stuff. So I fit almost all of it. It was a kid's twin bed with a rollaway. Almost all of it fit in this Model Y. The only part that I couldn't put in Model Y was the headboard, and that it was just too wide. There was no way to get it to fit it in, so I had to put that on a trailer. But all the rest of it, two mattresses, all the other pieces of it, they all fit in the back of this car. Would it fit in the Model 3? No way. I could put the mattress in. So let's say the rollaway part I could put in and make a trip. And then the bed part with its mattress I could put in, so it'd be 2 trips. And I would still be stuck with what do I do with the headboard. Since the Model 3 doesn't have a hitch. Now, can we fix that? Yes, aftermarket we can fix that. But why? I have a Model Y, so I don't need it on the Model 3. I've been really tempted. But the Model 3, from my perspective, is the drive around town car. Now, that's not quite all it can do. I mean, obviously it can do trips. Both cars have similar ranges. I mean, the Model Y in theory can do 330. The Model 3 in theory can do 300 or 299. But, I mean, supercharger, they'd be equal. And actually, Ming's with the LFP battery, it's shorter range, can also do trips, so no problem. All 3 of them can. Now, with Ming's, it's going to be a little bit slower charging, but whatever, it is what it is. In fact, I need to take a trip with that car sometime. Anyway, so for me, I like the performance aspects of the Model 3 performance. That's why I got it. Will I ever do track? Not likely, although Coda's not that far away. And you can do supercharger at Del Valley, which is, what, 5 miles away from it? Something, maybe not even that far. So you can do that kind of stuff. And maybe someday I'll do something along those lines. I mean, after all, I got the wheels and tires, I got the brakes, right? I mean, from a streetcar perspective, on streetcar days, yes, this could handle it, no problem. But anyway, peace and harmony. My heart really belongs to the Model 3, and the Model Y is very useful when I need it. So there you go. I mean, would that fit what you want to do? It all depends. Like the one guy I talked to in San Antonio, he's saying he had a Model Y Performance, and I think before I even had a chance to really say anything, he said he had 3 what he called adult-sized kids. So 3 teenagers maybe. And so for that kind of load, yes, you kind of want the Model Y. I mean, it's just more room. It's obviously way more room. Would they fit in the Model 3? Yes, but they'd be cramped. It'd probably be like being in my Yaris. I had a Yaris at one time. And my daughter, my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, and my oldest daughter's husband all fit in the back. And they were all, well, my oldest daughter was adult at that time, and so was her husband, obviously. And my youngest daughter, she was an older teenager, I think, at that time. Maybe around 15, 16. So not that much older. But anyway. and I think my middle daughter was sitting in front, maybe. I don't recall exactly how we did it, but I remember having three of them in the back seat. So this car is kind of like that. I mean, and if they were in this car, I would have to move up my seat to make a little bit more room. I mean, you have to. You can't squash them. But Model 3 is meant for a car that I'm driving by myself most of the time. Oh, and so what led me up to this partially was robo-taxi discussion. And I think I answered it, but I just don't see how a Model 3, now don't get me wrong, this Model 3 FSD has been paid for, but it's not active yet. So I have to work on getting it active. But, I mean, I just can't imagine doing robotaxi with this. I mean, if you had somebody sitting in the front seat, yeah, they'd fit. Okay, no problem. If you put two people in the front seats, they would fit, no problem. As soon as you try to put somebody above 5.5 feet in the back, I think you start running into problems. Okay, maybe 5'8", whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm 5'11", and I had problems. And obviously, if you're over me, if you're over my height, it just is not going to work for you. So, whatever. There it is. I hope you find this somewhat interesting. I know some of you are kind of on the fence. Why should I get a Model Y or should I get a Model 3? I think for most of you, it's a Model Y. Model Y is easier to get into, easier to get out of. It's has more room to carry people in it. Obviously, it's much roomier. And you can carry more stuff in it too. So, Model Y, unless you're a little bit nuts like I am, and then you get a Model 3, or what Ming's, what's she claim? 5'3", 5'4"? I don't know. Whatever. She has no problem with the Model 3. And as far, I think when she's driving it, there's enough room for me to sit in the back. Not that I've sit in the back while she's driving, but I mean, it's technically possible. So there you go. Whatever you choose to do, there's. I don't think there's any wrong way to do this. The only wrong way, I guess, is if you really needed a car all to yourself and doing shorter trips, and you end up buying a Model X. I mean, that car would be overkill for driving by yourself. And Model 3 would be perfect for that. But if you had Model 6, you can order 6 seats. I think you can actually order it with 7 seats, but that's going to be a little bit more harder to deal with. But so the 6-seater, you have 2 mid-section seats, and then you have 2 back seats. So between the 2 midsection seats, you can get to the back seats. So it's meant to be roomier. It's meant to go through. So that one actually sounds like a good idea if that's what you need, right? I mean, if that's what you need, that's what you need. Oh, and I mentioned that the Model Y can only pull 3,500 pounds. The Model X can pull 4,500 pounds, for whatever that's worth. Anyway, there you go. Yes, give me a Model 3 Performance all day, baby. But that's just me. I hope this is somewhat useful. Good luck.